Boom. We're on. Guys, it's a little after lunch hour. So what I'm going to ask you to do, if you don't mind, please jump on here very quickly and see if we can get the show on the road. It's a beautiful, what is today, Wednesday? Goodness. Is it Wednesday or Thursday? I lose track. I do. And I repeatedly say this to you. Sometimes we're out here having so much fun that sometimes we just lose track of the days. And as many of you know, everyone here at Simoson Building in the Simoson area, Simon Mwewa Lane, Lumumba Road, we're all hustlers. Every single one of us. You know, and if it's not one thing, it's a whole new other. Okay, that is the life that we have chosen right here in the CBD. Okay, so please tell me in the comments if I am loud and clear, and if I am, thank you. Who's that? Lawrence? Thank you. Tuned in from Walthamstow. Is that Walthamstow? Do you know this word? When I first saw this word, this is in England, Walthamstow. They say Walthamstow there, or Walthamstow. Some say Walthamstow. When I first saw that word, I read it as Walthamstow. Now, I called my brother-in-law, Spencer Malau. I said, Spence, I'm in a place called Walthamstow. He said, no, mwewa, that's Walthamstow or Walthamstow. Well, thank you, Walthamstow or Walthamstow, for watching and tuning in. I appreciate you so much. And I'm glad that it's loud and clear. Guys, let's dive straight into it. And keep in mind that here in Zambia, it is lunch hour. So part of my audience, I know, is watching this as they eat through their okra fish. Incidentally, I must tell you, I was over at my mother's restaurant the other day. OMG. I had the okra fish there. Honey, it was so delicious, it would make a Baptist do the Holy Ghost moonwalk. I kid you not. That okra fish was so good, make a tadpole slap a whale. I'm telling you right now, boy. Guys, tell me, are you this way? I do a lot of shinkling, okay? And I've shared this with you. Please indulge me. I really have to share this with you. It's incumbent upon me to share this with you. Tell me in the comments if any of you are this way. Because I have this thing, I shinka a lot. Shinka meaning I eat most of the relish, okay? I don't really eat the nshima. But here's the caveat. If I have a beautiful, nice, thick gravy with the fish, honey, that nshima is gone. It is gone. Are you that way? Bantunga ndedi obwadi, bali supu ya maka esabi. Imwe, ni olo. All right. Okay, let's get into it. Guys, I want to talk to you about something that there's an independent member of parliament for Nkana. He's a young man by the name of Binwell Pundu. And I've had the occasion once, I was at a wedding a few years ago, and I sort of ran into him. And, you know, Zambians being who we are, when you see someone you recognize, especially on social media, you walk over to them and you say hello. And at this wedding, he was there. I think he was there with his family. And we were probably standing in line at the buffet table. And I walked up to him and I greeted him. I said hello to him, you know. And that's about the extent of my interaction with him. But Binwell is a young, vibrant, independent member of parliament that has been making quite an impression over the last several weeks. One of the reasons he sort of indentationed himself in the social media space was in Parliament, he's very vociferous and sometimes he gets ahead of himself. Recently, he was seen in Parliament arguing with one of his colleagues, one of his fellow members of Parliament, and he very sort of unceremoniously responded by calling his fellow parliamentarian Ichimutwe. In my language, Ichimutwe means you got a big head, son. Your head's so big, you can't fit through that door. Okay, basically. And, but in December of 2024, he said something that could potentially land him in a bit of trouble. Now, let me give you some context, okay, because earlier today, Binwell Pundu posted something that I'm going to refer to that in a little bit, but let me explain to you why Binwell is in a bit of hot soup. Okay. Now, in other countries, what I'm about to share with you may be insignificant. It may be inconsequential to some degree in other countries. But in Zambia, it could potentially be a serious problem. And it's this. In December of 2024, while in Wapula, there was some type of ruckus there. The Sean Zero Lunatic Looney Tunes Screw Loose Tembo apparently was attacked in Luapula, and according to Binwell Pundu, which I believe this part, according to Binwell Pundu, the police commissioner there in Luapula did nothing whilst this Tembo was being assaulted. Okay. Now, in politics, that's very common. In Zambian politics, it's especially when it comes to by-elections, election period, election times, people get ahead of themselves. People become carelessly violent. So in this case, in Wapula, according to Binwell, there were some people that were brandishing guns that assaulted Sean Tembo and other people, and Binwell complained, and rightly so, because anyone should complain. When you feel that you are being mistreated or you're not being protected by the law, you will complain. So Binwell complained, Kuti, there are some people who attacked uyu Tembo, and they were brandishing infuti, magans. So, in response to that, Binwell's advice to his would-be followers is, and I quote, he said, this was December 20th, 2024, Binwell Pundu said, I urge my fellow politicians to buy guns in readiness to defend yourself. Now, this is what you must understand very, very clearly. When a politician makes a call to arms, especially within the Zambian context. Now, guns, let's differentiate. When you as a private citizen decide to arm yourself to protect your home, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you add political rhetoric and a call to arms, when you mix those two volatile ingredients, politics, nemfuti, bwana, ninkondo, that is a call to war. Ninkondo. You're in a point here, you must understand that. Listen to what I'm telling you. When you mix infuti, when politicians tell their supporters, not the citizenry, not the general citizenry, no, not from a constitutional point of view, the right to bear arms, not that. I'm talking about a politician who encourages his or her followers to bear arms for the sole purpose of engaging your political opponent as a way of retaliation or self-protection. The moment you start talking about guns and politics, bwana, iyo ni problem. This is what has landed Binwell and Pundu in problems. When you make a call to arms in a political situation, what you are saying is, when you are out there on the field and you meet your political opponent, pull out your guns, fire. When you see that they're about to fire, fire. Now, imagine a situation where UPND cadres are armed. PF cadres are armed with guns, not machetes, not yamabwe. Amambala balia bakaya pia. Bantu namba chila kalipa. Not fists. When you have a situation where cadres from the political divide encounter each other on the political field, and you are telling them, arm yourselves. Mawe, ningondo. Bakula fokwati ni balunshi. Kwa fwa ki pop. Chilishan, balay paranoku. Bani, ba UPND na ba PF. Pop. That is the chaos you are inviting. So, law enforcement knows. They know the severity. They know the seriousness. They know the weightiness of a political figure encouraging his or her supporters to arm themselves for political purposes. That is dangerous, my brothers and sisters. And in this country, Zambia, you know our people. Our people are very impressionable. Zambians, very impressionable people. It just takes a small tilt to convince them to do something. So political leaders in particular, you must be careful with the words you use. Now, Binwell has tried to cleverly, Binwell Binwell has tried to cleverly use a clip of HH saying you must protect yourself in accordance with the law. You remember that interview with Lucci from Phoenix FM. Lucci said to HH, this is on record. In fact, this is the latest clip that Binwell Pundu has posted on Binwell Pundu's page. And he has cleverly, craftily, scalemly tried to draw a comparison between what Binwell said. On this hand, Binwell said in 2024, December the 20th, 2024, Binwell said, my fellow politicians, I urge you, buy guns so that you can defend yourself in equal measure, meaning when they shoot, you shoot back. When they poo, you also poo. That's what Binwell said. Now, on the other hand, Hagainde Hichilima was asked by Lucci from Phoenix FM. Lucci said, HH, are you saying that your people can go around and they beat anyone they want? Watch the video, it's there. And I'm quoting, HH said, no. They shouldn't do that. Our message is, you should defend yourself in accordance with the law. Can you hear, can you see the difference? Can you pick up the anomaly? Huh? Can you see it for what it is? Binwell made a call to arms, buy guns. Now, notwithstanding, the issue that Binwell brought up of law enforcement not acting in the interest of the citizens, that is genuine. That is a genuine concern, because if you as a politician, you are on the field and there are police officers there present but when you are attacked, police don't do anything. That is a genuine concern. And Binwell should be heard on that point. Because today it can be Binwell, tomorrow it can be me. I've been in that situation where police are doing nothing. During the PF, mawe, bale tamba fye bakapokolo, bale kutamba fye tiye, lakini afu alafwa. Ngatwalile, alachibona. Nga ifo nifo bani. That is the attitude in the PF. So my point is, when Binwell raises the concern, Kuti, when we are on the political field and the police officers are seen not to protect the citizenry, that is a genuine concern. And I agree there with Binwell. Where I depart from Binwell's line of logic is where Binwell makes a call to arms for political purposes. That is confusion. You don't want that. You don't want political parties fighting each other with guns. That one is out. That one cannot be tolerated. That one cannot be accepted. We can't accept that. No. So, Binwell basically said, buy guns. HH did not say that. Binwell was trying to make it sound as if, no, Vuto ilipa, this is Binwell, he says, where is the problem? Muchinyanja ati Vuto ilipati. Chashupa shani, bantu, ifuba alelanda ba HH, na inyafi ondelanda. Not true. What HH said is diametrically opposed to what you said, Binwell. HH simply said, defend yourself in accordance with the law. HH did not make any reference to guns, weapons of any kind. In those days, the PF used to carry pangas. Pangas. Ngababula amapanga. Ode wachisa sopa musebo. Waumfafia idia sound idia ati kwa. Weshifafia ati twasanswa twafwa. The UPND used to tell very amazing stories. By UPND, during the time of the struggle before 2021, when you were a group of UPND cadres and you could see in the distance that our PF wabo, you know what they used to do? They used to take off their UPND regalia. Let's say, buddy, maybe there are 20 UPND cadres. Bahamona in the distance at abuba PF wabo walina mapanga. Bwana, they used to remove the UPND regalia. Mwafula. And you make sure nothing is red on you. Lidia mwafika kudia nomba kudia ulepita mulepita. You're passing through the PF territory. You have to do this. Kuchita so. You pretending you are one of them. By UPND, that scripture that says, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, then shapona mupiba by UPND umwenso full mumutimati lero twasanswa twalafwa full enyama regede tupite muliamwine padia ba PF padia ila twachita approach mwamba no mokustefi, just pretending. Why? You want to save your life. You want to come out alive. You want to go home that night and have dinner with your family. So you had to pretend you were PF. Wafula UPND regalia waingira mulia mu crowd mulia wamba no mokustefi. Papato. Ni wala bwana. Ulanyei. Hey. Fivarela never PF in those days. Ulanyei. Hey. Na iwe as UPND wambe okuchisecho chinecho. Hiwe. Ulanyei. Hey. Ala kwadi akantu bada. You pass through that valley of the shadow of death. Mwafika kuria kulast nomba kuria. Where the PF guys can't see you. Mwafwana nomba regelia yaba UPND nomba. Mwangira. Forward bwana ni forward. Iwe, forward yapo. You know, this is politics. In an election period, it is a matter of life and death. It is not child's play. It's not patty cake baker man. It's not holding hands, singing kumbaya. No, boys and girls, brothers and sisters, it is a matter of life and death. So when you add to that mix, when you hear Binwell Pundu say, let us carry guns, mawe, mnayangala imwe. In football politics, bakulafa kwati ni balunshi. Bakulafa kwati ni bakatete kwati ni nshonkono no. Law enforcement, they know that. Law enforcement know the implication of that. That is why Binwell Pundu is being taken to task. Because when these politicians start using such violent rhetoric for political expedience, there's a problem. There's a very stark, clear, and present problem. What is the way forward? No pun intended. The solution, let's be politically neutral. Let me be politically neutral. The solution, don't allow politicians to make a call to arms. That one is out. HH knew that. That's why he said, no. Defend yourself in accordance with the law. You remember when HH, there was a time HH started taking karate lessons. Because he knew the severity of it. He knew that there was going to come a time on the campaign trail where HH was surrounded by PF cadres. And there was no recourse. There were no guns, nothing. HH had to possibly rely on... Okay. You get my point. You get my point. Right. So let's put that to rest. Zambian politicians, don't encourage your followers to arm themselves with guns, semi-automatic weapons, or any weapon for that matter. Whether it's they should not be armed. Use the power of persuasion that is embedded in your mouth and in your heart. Don't use guns, machetes, anything to do with violence. Discard it. Do away with it. Okay. Secondly and lastly, you guys know that Robert Chabinga, incidentally guys, yesterday when I kept on calling him Bob, you must understand that the name Bob is a derivative of the name Robert. Meaning the name Bob comes from Robert. Okay? Anyone who's named Robert, you can call them Bob. It's the same thing. Okay? Must I teach you everything? I'm sure you know that, you chaps. Come on. So, Robert Chabinga was on a recorded conversation with a lady by the name of Doreen Mwamba. My understanding is that she's the Minister of Community Development and Social Services. Please tell me in the comments if that is who that lady is. Because yesterday, I didn't know who she was. You know the story. Chabinga was on a telephone conversation with this lady. And if you listen closely to that conversation, you will hear very, very clearly that the woman allowed Chabinga to talk. At some points during the conversation, she would even sort of assist him in completing his sentences. She wasn't really contributing to the conversation. She was in effect giving him enough rope to hang himself, the way they say in English. She was allowing him to just talk. And guys, let me tell you, when you lend your ear to a politician, Makamaka, a grassroots politician, oh, they will talk your ear off. They will talk until rapture. They will talk until the cows come home. They will talk until the sun comes down. As long as you let it fear, mulenjeba. Allah. Icho chintu icho. Afialandile. If you're chiari, when you give an ear to a grassroots politician like Chabinga, mawe, bwana, it will all just come flooding out. It will just all come out. Now, in my view, I believe the one that recorded that conversation was that same lady. That's what I believe. For what purpose? To show her colleagues that this one, you must be very careful with. Because at times he can be overly ambitious, he can embellish, he can twist some facts. Because we all know there's no way the whole head of state can be calling the leader of the opposition personally and leaving 12 to 13 missed calls. That is not practical. That is simply not practical. And the reason Chabinga claims that that was an AI-generated conversation, which it's not, the reason is because he knows that the things that he was saying were very incriminating against himself. Because let's be clear, Chabinga does not represent the UPND, he doesn't represent the government, he does not represent any wing of the UPND. He speaks as an individual leading an opposition political party. Yes, he's a sympathizer of the UPND, given. That is a given fact. He is a sympathizer of the UPND. But to suggest, to imply, Kuti, he represents government is erroneous, is wrong. To suggest or imply that he is running an errand of going to South Africa with the sole purpose of oiling the hands of South African judges at the behest of the head of state is completely wrong, lies, and misleading. That is simply not true. So in my view, the person that leaked that audio was very possibly this lady, Doreen Mwamba, because it is in her interest, it is not in the interest of Chabinga to release that conversation. Why? Because it incriminates him. But if she released it, there's nothing in that audio that incriminates her. If you listen to that conversation, she was basically just listening to him, just talking. What if I could become first class? I decided to reduce myself. I want to go on first class. Now what Doreen might fear, Allah, you politicians, be careful who you're talking to when you're on the phone. Trust no one. Trust no one. All right. Okay. Just that's what I had on my list of things to talk about. Thank you so much for listening. God bless. Have a great lunch.